All right, you guys, in this word problem, Glinda wants to rent a car for her trip to Key West. So the easiest thing to do, I hope you've already pulled out all of the numbers and some important words. What we need to do, or the easiest thing to do, and remember you can always do something else like create a table and figure that out, but 432 miles, I mean, that's a pretty big number. You're not going to want to create a table up to 432 miles. So you're going to want to create some equations first. And if you remember, let me get my highlighter here, that per mile, there's going to be your constant rate of change, right? Your average or your slope as we know it for one car company, and 15 cents per mile is going to be your slope. Slope for the other car company. Okay, so I already know the slope. I think the easiest equation to use is going to be y equals mx plus b, and we're just going to have two different equations, one for rental company Mr. Cotter's rental, and the other one for Barbarino's rental. So we have two equations. So the first one's going to be, and what do we have here? Where x, let's define our variables, is equal to the number of miles. Okay, that's how we're driving, and y is equal to the number of dollars, the cost. For each one's going to have the same variables, right? So for the first one, it's y equals, right, and mx, so there's our slope, our m, x, plus 99 is our starting point. Now, there's one more thing we need to do here, and I'm glad this one has it. It's only 11 cents per mile if it's over 100 miles. So here's how we make this work. We take our miles, which is x, and we have to subtract 100 for it because they're not going to pay for those first 100 miles. And then we put that in parentheses because when we solve, we're going to have to distribute this 0.11 cents through both of them, right? So here's how much we're paying per week, this $99, and then here's how much we have to subtract 100 miles before we start paying per mile, okay? So the other one then is going to be y equals 0.15, 15 cents per mile, but you don't start paying that until 150 miles. Do I have this right? Yep. 150 miles, and it's only $75 for the first week, right? So the question is actually asking how many miles would Glinda drive before she would be spending the same amount of money, and we know she's so there's two questions here. Cool. If it is 432 miles to Key West, which company has the better deal? So the first thing you're going to do is solve each equation for y equals, and 432 miles, so we're going to replace our x. This was just like making those tables with 432, okay, in both equations, and that's how you can figure out which is cheaper for 432 miles. And then the second part, I'm not going to solve it for you, but I can get it set up for you. The second part is when are they going to be spending the same amount at either company? And let's not forget to answer both parts. I think straight up substitution, because you can graph them in the calculator. I would just be worried you're not always going to have access to that. But if we have y equals both of these, if this is the same on each side, you can just set them equal to each other. X minus 100 plus 99 equals 0.15 x minus 150, parentheses, important for order of operations. Okay, and if you solve this equation, it's going to take a few steps. But if you solve this equation for x, you will get the number of miles where they're the same. I can get you started on that because the first thing you're going to do is distribute. So you have 0.11x minus, because it's positive 0.11 and a negative 100, minus 11. And I can do that in my head because if I multiply by 100, I just move the decimal 2 places to the right. Plus 99 equals 0.15x minus, because I have a positive and negative, that's minus 15 times 15 is 225, and I have 1 0, but I have 2 decimals, so it's going to be 2250 plus, actually you guys might want to double check that with the calculator. This is just in my off the top of my head. Okay, so I did the hard part for you. Now you need to combine your like terms and get the x on the same side and then get x by itself. So you have 2 different answers here. The first one would be solving these 2 to see which is the cheapest for 432. And then the second one would be solving this to figure out after how many miles they are the same.